I'm going to share exactly what I did in 2019 that changed the game of budgeting and helped us with our getting out of debt journey, like tremendously changed it. And not only did it change our lives, my family and I, but it also changed all of those who I helped with their budgeting over the past 5+ years. So here's the secret that I'm going to share with you. It is going to be something that's going to definitely change the game as you go into the new year and forever if you follow the steps to the T. Now, I'm Terry, the Well Share, for those who are joining for the first time. And thank you for everyone who's listening to my video again. I want to be able to help you all build wealth for yourself and your family and become debt free, but also problem free, have time freedom, all this freedom that we all desire. It is well given to you if you follow certain steps. Now, I'm going to go the route of what God wants me to share with you. And this is one of the topics that God has been asking me to deliver to you guys for the past month and a half. And that is how to properly allocate your money to your budget for food. But there are some steps that you must take before that can happen, which I can tell you that you guys are spending more money with food than you actually realize. So this is going to be quick, won't take too long, but I want to be able to change your life by sharing our journey on what it was that we did in our debt-free journey. Okay, so grab a pen, grab some paper, relax, and we're going to dive into all the things that is going to help you when it comes to food. So number one, that is shopping your pantry. So here's the thing. When you set out every week or every 2 weeks, however often you shop, to go and buy groceries, I can guarantee that most of you are buying duplicate of items that you already have, and you're buying things that you do not need. Meaning, you plan this meal that you want to make, and Sunday rolls around, you're like, I don't want to make it. Or you end up buying too much of different products for that meal, and it ends up in your pantry. And then it becomes a repetitive cycle. So what is happening is that you are spending more money than you need to because you already spent it. You forgot about it when you went out. You didn't make a list, which is super important. And then you end up carrying too much things in your house that ends up spoiling, or you throw away, you just don't use, whatever it is, it just ends up being wasted money. And I can guarantee a lot of people are spending more money in food, whether it's dining out, whether it's cooking at home, than they need to. Because one of the tricks and tips that I did was create a list of all the things that I needed for the week. Now, I'm going to tell you my journey as I have grown up. Coming from a West Indian household, a sale was super, like this big thing where if something go on sale, you buy multiple ofs. What that has taught me in my past journey is that I start to overbuy things just because I want to get a better price on it. But you end up buying more cans of milk and more, potatoes and different snacks and chips and drinks than you need, and sometimes you lose the taste for things as time go on and you don't use it, and it end up becoming a total waste. Now, that was how I grew up. We bought things because it was on sale. We bought multiple of to save money. But what I found over the years was that after a certain point, we went in our pantry and we ended up having to throw things away because of the shelf life. And it was either because we forgot about it, we just didn't want to use it anymore, and it was just one of those things where it became trash. And that is money going into the trash, literally. So with shopping every week, this helps you to take assessment of what you already have or and purchase so you can use what you already have. So when we actually started our debt-free journey, the first thing we had did was we joined the Dave Ramsey program. And that was one of the eye-opening experiences for us because it forced us to actually understand what our debt was. Now, we had a roundabout number, but when we joined that program, we really went through the exercise of listing out all of our debts. And then I realized that I needed to dive more into what it is that we were spending. And doing that exercise made me really think through, what strategies can I start implementing because I'm very analytical. I love a great Excel sheet and be able to like write things down. So when I started doing the food budget, I realized, something came to me in my mind, and I know that's God, of Terry, check out all the things that you have already in your home. Check your pantry, check your fridge, and your freezer. So when I mention pantry as the first place to check, I also want to add your fridge and your freezer. Now, for me, I'm gonna tell y'all, the freezer is the pit of like never, never seen again land. Okay. If I put it in the freezer, I can guarantee you more than not, I'm not taking it back out the freezer. It is one of those things where I will make too much of a, like a soup or, something that I can reheat. And I could tell you, it's not coming out. Okay. So I had to do a few things. Again, I had to start shopping weekly, and I'll go through that more in a minute. But what I had to do was I had to become more conscious of not putting things in the freezer because, again, it went into the land of the abyss. It went into a black hole that was seen but wasn't used. Okay. So when you are assessing what you want to eat, you have to really understand what do you already have? Do you really need to go out and buy additional groceries, or can you already make something that is, that you already have the ingredients or something that you have frozen for another time? Because, that longevity in the freezer, I know it's just not me that just leave things in the freezer. I'm not the only one that's guilty. Put it in the comments. You are guilty too. I really want you to really dive in to what you are spending by looking at what you already have. So with the other tip is the weekly shopping. Now, there was times where when we went shopping, like I mentioned, you see something on sale. We shop Kroger and Publix. Publix is the buy one, get one free. So therefore, you feel like you're saving. A lot of times people don't realize that they can actually just buy one of the product, not the two, and get the one half off. So there was times where I would force myself just to get the one because I really didn't need the two. So it's on sale anyway because it's a buy one, get one free. People are enticed to buy more because of the deal, not realizing, again, they're buying things that they do not need just for the sake of saving money. And there's times where there's things that people do to save money that actually cost them more. I'm going to add a little segue to this. That is also putting things on your credit card and not paying off in the month time. When you are catching a sale and you put things on your credit card and you don't pay it off, when that interest hits you, the money that you saved on that sale item is no longer on sale. You have now increased the amount that you've paid for that item by allowing yourself to have the interest charges, and that will add up over time. So beware of sale on credit cards because if you're not paying it off every month, you are doing a disservice to your pocketbooks, okay, and yourself. So going back to shopping weekly. So it was more of Terry, get exactly what you need and nothing else. And this is something that I've taught my clients over the past 5 years plus. When you are going shopping, only write what you plan to cook, what snacks you need, whether it's for yourself, your spouse, your children, everyone. When I used to go shopping every single week, I will go to my daughter, go to my son, go to my husband, and ask each person, what do you want for lunch this week? Now, sometimes we will all share the same ingredients, whether that they were making sandwiches or what have you for the week, but it was literally a family affair when it came to us coming together on what it is that we were purchasing. So when I went out on Sundays, Sundays is my primary day for shopping. I only bought what I needed. So once they told me what they wanted for the week, I would go into the pantry, the refrigerator, and the freezer to see what we already had. And if there was ingredients for if I was making spaghetti, lasagna, a macaroni and cheese, whatever ingredients I needed for the different meals we were going to make that week, I will go into the pantry and see what we already have. So that is one of the things that will help you to be able to cut down. So I'm gonna tell you something. Going back to the Dave Ramsey days, and we were only in the we were actually we did complete the program, and the program did change our spending habits and our awareness. There were things that I implemented myself when it came to budgeting that led me to become a a financial planner for others, or a financial advisor for others, or a budget manager, money manager for others in the past 5+ years, because all the things that I did to pay off our debt, which was over $100,000, we were able to do it in 14 months. And God was like, okay, Terry, you have this huge gem, show others how to get out of debt. And when I tell you, even from, doing it from free to then becoming, working with paid clients, but everyone who followed through on the things that I told them to do based on the exact blueprint that we did in our family, and I, was able to allocate and come through with different Excel formulas and, different processes, and the tips and tricks that I've shared over time, that changed people's lives, where they too was getting out of debt in a short amount of time. They were also being able to, purchase homes and, other things, to be able to, maximize on their experience and not have to pay someone back. So when I tell you that this tip about food will change the game, I really mean it, because we went from, I want to say, when we were doing the Dave Ramsey program, what I did was I went back 3 months to see what we had spent on food. And we had spent somewhere between like 25 to $3,000 on food. When I say food, I mean groceries, eating and eating out, okay? Whether that is our lunch, fast food, going out to restaurants. We were roughly around like $3,000 over, collectively, like 2, 3 months that I looked at when I did my analysis. You have to become someone who knows your numbers, because when you know your numbers, the numbers won't control you. You will be in control of where your budget, your allocation for your money should be going, okay? So in recognizing we were spending so much money, we went down to spending, I want to say, like 150 the first week, because I went into the pantry. I remember it's like probably like around September, the first week of September, if I'm not mistaken, I went through the pantry. I'm like, what is it that we had? And I had a box of spaghetti, and I had a box of sauce. And then we actually had ground beef, I believe, in the freezer. Okay. And made that. So that eliminated going out and spending, $30 to $40 on the set of stuff, including the ground beef, because we didn't need to buy all those things. And I want to say we ended up spending maybe like $50 that week on snacks and other things. It was a very low number. So the money I had set out for the 150 did not actually get used, because we had things already in the house. So that's what I mean. And I remember I did this with two of my clients, and one of them, she didn't spend money for like a good 2 to 3 weeks because she had so many groceries in her pantry. And another one did the same. And another one, over time, she was the one who was just telling me, like, over the past month, in the past few days, she was telling me that the tips I gave her about food management and budget allocation literally changed how she still spends money on food till this day. So it's not just a one-time process. It has to be a lifestyle change, to where that you are not putting money into food, because sometimes like people will start to, cut back on subscriptions and cut back on spending, but then they shift it into other areas in their lives. And food can be that area that people start to overspend in. Okay. So don't forget, write this down. Shop your pantry, your fridge, and your freezer. Okay. First, that is the first place you shop. That is your first supermarket. Okay. You have your own supermarket at home. Just try to get in a space where you have to become comfortable with not seeing this large amount of different products and ingredients to make yourself feel like you have more. And I feel like social media and different images make us feel like we have to have so much in our pantries, in our refrigerator to not feel or look poor. And that is absolutely a myth. I'm trying to debunk anything that is stopping you from overspending. So, with that, you have to recognize that there are certain programs and certain thought processes and certain mindsets that you have succumbed to and you have believed in that is causing you to overspend because that may have been what you've seen growing up or you didn't see, and now you're either replicating or trying to do it because you feel like having all this food in your fridge, in your pantry and freezer make you feel like you're wealthy because you have more. It can be a money waster, okay? So you have to get comfortable with seeing less and know that you still got it. You just don't have to show it. And that is a lesson that comes to a lot of things, whether that is your clothes or a bunch of items in your home. You don't have to have everything on display to show people that you have wealth because someone can look like they are wealthy and they are broke, and someone can look like they don't have much and they are wealthy. So you can't judge the situation by just your eye, and sometimes it ain't really our business, right? So we have to get comfortable with knowing that what is for us is for us. We don't have to put everything on display. It's okay if you like nice luxury things. That is totally fine because I'm a luxury kind of girl. But what I'm saying is that you don't have to show things to make others feel like you have it. And that will cause you to overspend in areas that you don't need to spend in because you're putting yourself and your things that you possess on display for other people to judge. And, that is something that we really have to be mindful of not doing. Be happy for people, whether you think they have it or not, it's really not your business. But if they do, be thankful and grateful for them. And if they don't, pray that they are able to see that they actually have abundance already and they don't need to display it. Okay. Again, there's nothing wrong with doing it, but there is something wrong with doing it with the wrong intentions and causing your pockets to be emptier because you're trying to impress other people. Okay. Impressing other people will keep you broke. Okay. So just remember that. I want thought this came to me. So God, thank you. I want you all to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Millionaire Next Door. The Millionaire Next Door was a book I read, I want to say in 2018 and 2019, that literally caused me to recognize that you cannot judge a book by its cover. So this was around the time that I was driving a Benz, and I remember like feeling judged because people automatically make assumptions. And that's what I mean by people make assessments based on what people have, and that's not what we should do. We should just be happy that the person has something and not go into, this thought process of judging them. Okay. So A Millionaire Next Door was the book that I shared with other people in their debt-free journey that also helped them to change and shift their mindset to recognize that you cannot tell someone's bank account by looking at the car they drive or looking at the home that they own or the things they possess. Because there are people walking around with big things, whether it's nice purses and, luxury, expensive brands, very pricey items, and they are not in a position to actually have it financially. So don't go financially broke trying to impress others. Okay. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and A Millionaire Next Door are my recommendations for you to read. Okay, so we just wrote down shop your pantry, shop your refrigerator and your freezer. And that is really what's going to shift things for you. So as you're going into this new season, I want you guys to recognize that you're going to have to make some adjustments mentally and also physically. Okay. When I say physically, meaning like the things that you were used to, once you read that book, Million Next Door, it will help you to let go of different theories and not think about the person next door and, or your friends or your family, and really take your financial journey very seriously to know that it's yours and yours alone. Yes, there are people to help influence you to make positive decisions, but don't fall into any negative thoughts of where people think you are or where you think that you're not to impress people, to become more in debt, to be able to show things that you don't need. Okay. There will be a disconnection on need versus want as you get serious about saying yes to becoming debt free, to have the time freedom and financial freedom that you truly desire. So, that's the big thing. As simple as it sounds, I can guarantee you, you changing your food management will change your budget. Because I will tell you, when we started in our debt-free journey, we were able, I want to include my husband, we were able to start knocking out our debt so quickly because we freed up money, not just with our food, but also with our cell phone bill. So I'm going to tell you about that real quick, just as a little tidbit with our cell phone bill. That was something else that I assessed in our debt-free journey, where when I started going through the numbers, I recognized we were paying about 1,600 plus. I feel like I want to do the math. We were paying, yeah, so let's just say close to $2,000 a year on our cell phone bill. And then we were able to cut that down to about $700 a year with going with Mint Mobile, which we've had for the past 5 years. Now I'm gonna tell you something, what I was saying about like the having to disconnect and change your mindset to not feel judged, you will also start to judge your own self. Because I remember moving from T-Mobile, the AT&Ts, the Verizons, and moving to Mint Mobile, which was a prepaid method, which I always said I would never do prepaid, but listen, God will show you something better because going to prepaid literally changed the game for us as well. So that is something that really shifted our money because we were able to free up money. So understand the when you manage your money, you can look at ways to free up your the money that you're receiving from your income to be able to do more with. And the do more can be paying off your debt. It can be saving for a home, a car. It can be traveling. There's so many things you can do with the extra money. It can also go into your 401k. Make sure you check out my past videos about your 401k. That will help you become an instant millionaire if you follow the steps. Now, in 20 years, don't say, Terry, I didn't become a millionaire. And I go back and I say to you, did you actually max out your 401k? If you didn't, and you're not a millionaire, don't say I didn't tell you because you didn't follow the steps to the T. We got to be mindful of that, right? We got to be mindful when God is telling us to do things, we got to do it to the T and not pick and choose what feels good and push away the things that feel challenging. Okay. So it might feel challenging for you to cut back on your food and cut back on cooking at home versus eating out, or, shopping your pantry. It's going to have to become a habit, or moving from, a popular, what people deem as popular to something that is an unpopular way. When we went to Mint Mobile, I was like, okay, are people going to judge us? Who cares what cell phone provider you have? Who cares if you're paying $25 a month or $20 a month? Is that not a good thing? So there was some self-judgments that I went through in my journey, even like having to tell people, no, we're not going to come hang out because we just did our budget and we didn't budget for going out. There are some things that you're going to have to do to that it's going to feel uncomfortable for you to get to a comfortable space. And I can say with us going through those uncomfortable moments and having to tell people, you know what, thank you for the invite, but no thank you. Or, we're going to cook at home versus going out, or we can't go on that trip because we're trying to save and pay off debt. It feels good when you actually accomplish the goal of paying off the debt. Because when we paid off over $100,000 of debt in 14 months, my gosh, it felt good. It actually felt so good. It felt so weird, okay? Because now we have all this money that was coming from our paychecks that wasn't going out to pay a car or to pay a 401k loan or to pay a credit card, the money was ours to play with. So we started playing around in the stock market, okay? And that is how we started investing and taking risks that people are scared to do because they feel like I don't want to lose money. I will tell you, debt freedom feels great. I don't want you to feel it too. I want you to be able to get to a space to know that you can become debt free. You don't have to owe anyone. You don't have to be a slave to the debt master. We're not to be a slave to the debt master. I mean, it's biblical. We're not to be the slave to someone who are like is owning us in terms of like having to repay them money. Okay, we have to own our our future. We have to own our process. We have to be in control of our destiny and not allow other people to control our destiny by having to pay back money that at times you may not feel like you are able to afford. Okay. So I'm going to do my best to do my part, which is to pass on the wealth of information that God has shared with me through our journey of becoming debt free to be able to help you become debt free as well. And whether let's just say you are debt free and you want to be able to do better with your money, I will share the tips of what God has taught me when it comes to allocations to 401ks and Roths, IRAs, or, investing in the stock market, budgeting so you can save for, Christmas early and birthdays and, whatever it is. You can be on top of your finances. You can take control of your finances. So again, this is my way of sharing with you how we are building wealth so you can build wealth for your family and yourself as well. Because one thing God has taught me is that when God is sharing things with us, we're not to hold it and harbor it to ourselves and not share with others because that is one greed and it's not the art of being generous. So when God is telling me, that we are to share, a lot of people don't really understand what that means because sometimes people are programmed to hold things and not share with others because they don't realize that there's something in them that don't want someone else to prosper because they feel like they're not going to prosper and they want to be the ones to do it first. I want you all to prosper, okay? Because I already know that I'm part of God's prosperity plan and everything that is for me will be for me and everything for you will be for you. But with that said, you have to be able to follow through on what God is guiding you on to make sure that you are in alignment to the plan and the path that God has for you. And that is not just in relationships, but also your budget, okay? And also your financial health. So I pray that just that tip, and I know I shared a lot of tips in this video, but just the tip of, or I should say the tips of the food management and your cell phone bill, how you can truly transform your finances to be able to pay off debt so fast and save so quickly by just implementing the things that I just shared with you. I pray that you all are able to find your way in your journey with God. I pray that you guys are all able to build wealth so you can share wealth with your loved ones. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. I'll be so happy to create videos that will be able to help you change your family history and trajectory to be able to have more. Bye.